Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to this event. I hope this discussion will be interesting for you and useful. And thank you to British Council for organizing this event and to Team University for providing the premises. Let me just tell more. I don't know a lot about you, but our speaker today is Alex Kander, who has 15 years of experience in Silicon Valley. So talking about innovations, talking about startup ecosystem, and also I hope that we will have some comparison on how innovations and startups can grow in Uzbekistan, and also sharing some ideas because we have not only students here, we also have some entrepreneurs in the audience, so we would like to touch a little bit about entrepreneurship and leadership and some tips for like personal growth and growth of the business. And thank you, Alex, also for agreeing to join this conversation. And then at the end, you will have opportunity to ask the questions. And then we will also touch a little bit about Study UK program, my personal journey there. But before that, I would like to give a floor to Alex. So as I mentioned, you have a very big experience in Silicon Valley and in general in entrepreneurship. Can you share a little bit, because not everyone knows about your background, so about your experience, if you can share for everyone?
Sure. Basically, I have 3 careers in that sense. One in sports, which I started very early, at my 6 years old. At 10 years old, I found my sport, which is rowing, and I have been rowing since then.
Wow.
I'm 63 years old.
Wow.
Recently, this summer, I won the European Championships in Masters again.
Wow.
And also I'm a coach.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as an athlete, I have a career. As a coach, I have a career. I also have a business management career, which lasted for 22 years in different countries. US is one. I was in Singapore, in Europe, in Turkey, in Cyprus, as a professional. But when I got married and had kids, I understand that there is no time for your kids. Well, if you don't have time for your kids, they are not your kids. So I stopped being a manager and I turned academic. So that's why I am here with you as a professor. So I got my professorship in that time. And I'm also getting retired as a professor as well. So I have business retirement, and I have 3 retirements in 3 different countries.
And how is your impression about Uzbekistan so far?
Actually, as a family, we are here. We liked it very much.
Yeah.
I mean, we had been treated well, and my kids, go to school here, and we are very happy with the education. Especially, they are away from drugs and violence. This is the main thing that we spent our time here until my son is graduated. My daughter is just in the beginning stages. She's going to go to high school, but we have to formalize that because we are going back to the States this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
But overall, we are very happy in Uzbekistan.
Yeah, that's great. And as far as you mentioned about your sport career, before we move to the main topic, it's really interesting for me how your insight or your habits in sport, how it was helpful in business actually. Did you see any parallels, for example, in building the team or in being disciplined or taking decisions, how sport actually can help to business?
First of all, it's a mental thing. I mean, if you're an athlete, you have better and clearer thinking capacity. It's proven by the science. I mean, if you're physically active, your brain works better. That's one thing. And the second thing is my sport is a team sport. So, I participate in teams, or in terms of leadership, I can, although I don't like it. I don't like the leadership and management part, because I believe people should lead and manage themselves. I believe in, you know, free will and intellectuality that human should achieve. It's a certain level that we can actually manage our lives. Otherwise, management is kind of equal to slavery. If you
yeah, that's
consider
very
that.
interesting. I wanted to go to leadership questions later, but now, as far as you touched this, so did you notice any how in Uzbekistan leadership style might be different, or understanding of leadership style might be different, and what would you suggest to Uzbek entrepreneurs or even executives, managers, to make their teams more effective? Is it always about, like, as you said, like management and leadership in general are different concepts, so what would you mention about how it is perceived in Uzbekistan, and what would be your advice?
Well, as Hikmat mentioned just a few minutes ago, Uzbekistan is opening up, and it's opening up from the Soviet rule, right? Since '92, of course, you know, there have been big steps and leaps into that direction. But in my experience, I haven't seen the clear, free thinking of the society yet. I'm not sure if it's a really good thing or bad thing, because there's a culture attached to it. So there's not, you know, one way of doing things. It's not just one right for everybody. So in its own ways, Uzbekistan is opening up. And well, what will the consequences will be, I'm not sure for the future. Because currently what I see is, you know, the major capital investments are coming in the country. And I see that people are getting more and more credit, mortgage loan debt. It's increasing. So what's that going to bring to the society economically and socially? I don't know. But it's happening. So technology is, you know, coming in, streaming in. And also, of course, the mentality of the people are changing. We see that in the school. You know, the students are different in their thinking than their parents. Yes. So there's a generation gap. It's already happening. So the consequences, I'm not sure, because there is not one fixed future.
Yes.
Whatever you do now, you still have multiple futures, right?
Yes.
So I hope the best one will happen for Uzbekistan. But it's already unleashed, so you'd never know what's going to happen really.
Yes, and slowly we can go from here that for startups also is now a good time. But what actually is a startup? Yeah, let's just start with this. What is a startup in your opinion?
A startup is an idea, basically. It's a business model that happens in someone's mind. Okay, so but you have to have a background for that. If you have a background in engineering, or if you have a hobby that you take it seriously, if you have some sports background, whatever that is, there will be opportunities for you business-wise. Well, if you attach your experience and desire to that opportunity, it becomes a business model in your mind. That's how the startup begins. So startup is an idea, and then a business model in your mind, and then search for money and opportunities in other people.
Yes, when we think about startups and then the next step, searching for investors and so on, we usually imagine the Silicon Valley, all that dream stories, like people start something in the garage, then it just rockets somewhere. Like, is it actually often happening like this in Silicon Valley?
It used to happen a lot more than today, yes, sure. Maybe you heard about it, just beginning of this whole event, I was talking about the golden years. So 80s and 90s are the golden years of Silicon Valley. And in those days, yes, I mean, a lot of people got rich basically for nothing, especially before the boom. In 98, 99, 2000, you know, we had this dot-com boom and bust. So in those years, people had been investing into nothing. Okay, so NASDAQ was, you know, pumping up all those websites or website designers. They became millionaires overnight. but there was nothing there to bank on. So when the fund just dried out, everything collapsed. So this was the first, one of the major collapses of Silicon Valley. And I'm afraid the same thing is happening for AI businesses right now. It's a big hype. People believe that AI is going to resolve or solve every problem on Earth, which is not true. It's basically the computer technology, computer science evolving. It's just one step into a long future, but it's happening in such a way that it's very similar to what's happened in 2000.
And how is it in Uzbekistan, like this dream path? Can it happen today, or maybe you can predict that Uzbekistan will also will have its own golden age for startups or for entrepreneurship in near future? What do you think?
Well, it can be, but as I said, this is a different culture. Silicon Valley is a culture. Okay, it's unique. There is no other Silicon Valley on Earth. I mean, people tried, but it never happened because there is a climate and events and a culture behind it. It's a pioneer's culture, and it was the land of opportunities, for gold, agriculture, and all those things. And there is also the mentality, the mentality of standing up on your own feet, right? There's an individualistic culture there. So these are, when you combine all those things, Silicon Valley is not much different than the American society or other, pockets of business. But it's unique because for a long while it attracted the best of the best employees, the workforce all around the world. So in that sense, the culture became very unique and also supportive of the investors and engineers. So a spin-off in Silicon Valley is a good thing, meaning you work for someone. After a while you say, I'm experienced, okay, I'm going to start my own business. It's okay. Okay, the company is not going to tell you, you can't work for someone else for 2 years. Okay, it's forbidden, it's in your contract. There is no such thing, okay? If you want to do that, they support you. And people are supportive of each other for, innovation and startups. But other than that, most importantly, the funds, the size and availability of investment funds in Silicon Valley has no match all around the world. So if you come up with an idea, the venture capital goes up to trillions of dollars, and you may have easy access to that. In other parts of the world, that's not easy. That's one of the key differences. But many other countries try, different ways. China, for example, Israel, they established very successful technoparks. And it's okay in their culture to dictate certain things to investors, not investors, I'm sorry, to engineers, to come up with something and build it, and they will be supported by the state, for example. That's probably a better model for this country than Silicon Valley.
Yeah, yes, and luckily we already have some cases of unicorns in Uzbekistan, or future unicorns, and also some of the successful cases when very young entrepreneurs start and slowly they grow, like those Iman Fintech or Uzum, and PayMe is a great example when they were sold by half of the company was bought by the bank and so on. Coming to the educational part of it, how academia actually now in Uzbekistan contributing to growing that mindset, to encouraging young people to think innovation and to aspire their own startups?
Well, the private universities currently focus on business and management. Well, business and management education is for corporations. It's to educate, raise corporate people. It's traditionally, okay?
Yes.
And entrepreneurship is something different then. It's a completely different thinking. But you can teach entrepreneurship to people in a few months. And also, it's just basic technical stuff. But entrepreneurship should be here in someone's mind. So you do it more than learning it.
Yes.
Okay. But of course, you have to learn certain things like accounting, sales, communications, etc. Fine, right? And after that, you start a business. You need management skills, some strategic marketing. Fine, but in the beginning, you have to have a background, as I mentioned. If you are not specialized into something, how can you make a business successful? Or how can you model it? How can you see an opportunity? Okay, that's the most important thing. So I would be very careful with young people, coming into this university from straight from high school. And time and again, I tell them, without a background, don't go into business. You learn something, either logistics, music, whatever it is, get into something, have some interest into something, so you can start a business.
Yes.
And starting a business also requires funds. Now, the banks are not going to give you anything, okay? Well, what about capital? Well, the venture capital in this country will get everything from you, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. If you go with a business plan, present it, they might say, okay, good, bring it. And then you will get 1%, I get 99%, start the business. But you become an employee in your own business in this case. So all these things must be regulated, and probably by the state. There must be a plan, an environment that would support inventors, investors, and people who are enthusiastic in business. And maybe there must be some systematic desired background training and education available to people. For example, if the company wants to go in the IT route, well, you have to offer that to younger people, starting from high school level. So, they can understand, and in the future they can develop something out of it.
So you mean that young people still should first have experience in corporate world or just being employed, so they see the scale, so they cannot start just working on their own idea and just become pioneers in particular field?
Yes, but what I see in younger people here, a great interest in money and material.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's not the whole thing, okay? So if they are here for 4 years in this school, we are trying to teach them planet, people, and then profit. Because if you are not thinking in that sequence, you damage, first of all, the planet, and then the society, and then you make money. But then we are releasing another monster in the society, right? We don't want that. So we want the young people to think and act responsibly. You can still make money out of good things.
Yes.
You don't have to, be a hoarder. You don't need to be a parasite for the society. You can be a responsible business person. That's what we are trying to teach. And I think this should be emphasized for the future of the country.
Yes, and there are a lot of good cases who are of the responsible business, and now in Uzbekistan I think people start thinking more about ecology and ESG and other areas. And also continuing this conversation, what are other players who can encourage the growth of innovation and startups except academia, like for example some co-working spaces? You mentioned also the IT hubs, and what are other players? How else in a society this innovative spirit can be encouraged?
Well, as I said, building backgrounds in younger people's minds is important. As you said, if there is technology, education, or knowledge transfer for free and in an organized manner, that's very helpful. Okay, but Uzbekistan is also a sports country. I mean, I see lots of athletes,
Yes.
and in the older days, I guess this was the Soviet sourcing country for weightlifting, boxing, and wrestling. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So also, athleticism, I see, track and field is quite good, right? The other sports like judo, taekwondo, they're all good. So why not, creating businesses, business ideas out of those? It's already available. There are specialized schools. You can, connect business thinking, inventions, free mind thinking, and entrepreneurship to those.
So you believe that sports and wellness industry is one of the industries which are which can be, which demands a lot of new ideas and new maybe startups, or like for business. Actually, which areas do you think in Uzbekistan are most attractive now for making new startups and innovations?
Now you know Nike, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Nike is a shoe. The guy was a coach.
Yes.
And he just wanted to make a track and field shoe that's slightly better than the others. That was the whole idea, and it started in this garage, right? As you mentioned in the beginning. But this is one of the inventions. Very, very small contribution became Nike. So it's actually the motivation behind it. You want to do something, you want to contribute something, and it's liked by other people, and then you bank on it as a business person. That's how it works. And this can be encouraged easily and shown to people. It's not a big deal, but you have to open up doors, okay? Instead of restrictions, suppressing free thinking and creativity, you just open up, it happens.
And thinking about young entrepreneurs, so let's say they have ideas, they started their startup, and then they already have a team. What would you say, let's say 5 main areas they should be knowledgeable about, or 5 main skills they should have, because they cannot be at the same time, I don't know, lawyer in their company, right? The accountant and so on, but these are all the areas which actually needed for the growth, because even Nike, just idea itself, and then he could grow it because he was passionate, but that maybe he had a team or something. So what would you say 5 important skills for a young entrepreneur, or just for an entrepreneur to be successful and to grow from the idea to the real big business?
You mean for Uzbekistan?
For Uzbekistan, yeah.
Okay. Well, I see logistics opportunities in this country. It's a landlocked country, but you have access to multiple other countries around you. So why not becoming a logistics hub? Why not becoming business and culture hub for business people of the other countries? There are many opportunities in that as well. Also for technology, right? Code writing at the low level, maybe not the best thing to do anymore, because although AI is not that intelligent right now, but it can do code writing, the simple stuff, okay? So it might not be a lucrative investment like Ireland in the past, or India in the past and now, but it can be something else, one level above, into new technologies. For example, quantum computing. You may start teaching now. When it comes to fruition and maturity, it will happen for younger people here. They will be knowledgeable, they will have experience, and maybe you will be receiving investments by that.
Yeah, thank you. And my almost last question is, how do you see the startup ecosystem and innovations in Uzbekistan in 10 years, 15 years, like coming from your experience, what you saw in other countries? So what would you, of course you mentioned there might be multiple futures, but just one of the most desired futures which you might suggest, what would that be?
Well, what I see right now is the country is receiving a lot of construction investments. which is good and bad. That you have to be careful on that because you know the rates, right? Real estate investment trusts, they're actually good and bad things. Right now, they are investing heavily in India, which is the 49th country in Asia-Pacific region. And they suck out everything from your country in the end. So I hope that doesn't happen to Uzbekistan. But there are opportunities in that area, you know, in construction, in infrastructure. You may relate that to certain aspects of tourism, which would be useful. It's not just the monument visitations, right?
Yes.
There are other types of tourism that you can actually excel. And, you know, connected with the experience in construction and hospitality, there might be a lot of opportunities for investments. And of course, you need to be careful about the environment as well. So, you know, knowledge, sustainability, thinking of the society again, you know, without forgetting about that. There are a lot of opportunities in that. Service industry.
Yes. Yes, great. Thank you very much. And any idea, any topic which I didn't ask you about and you wanted to share?
I think we talked a
Yes.
lot about entrepreneurship and business, but before we put people to sleep, thank you
I want
for asking
also,
all the questions.
Yeah, I want also to give opportunity to the audience if they have any questions, they can also ask. Yes, please.
Is this on? You may need to turn it on. There you go.
I think you reviewed the maybe environment of the so for startups, is there enough environmental legislation that maybe you propose a different approach, or maybe more tight regulation we have, and you want to relieve this regulation, or maybe we have a what can I say? We don't have enough environment, or we don't have enough knowledge, or we don't have any lot of universities, or you know, the China now is the best, the highest R&D research making country than other. Maybe US also is not in the top, and India also is the highest R&D making expenses country. So should we pay attention on these types of expenses, or maybe we should have a more foreign these startup companies that we can create our own startups. But you know, maybe you heard the Telegram opened the what can I say, the country office in Kazakhstan instead of Uzbekistan. Maybe we should have maybe Facebook or Amazon companies offices in here. Central Bank, Central Asia is a landlocked Uzbekistan needs a lot, some types of these startups. So.
And the question is about environment, or?
Yeah. How do you assess our environment? How do you assess, or maybe you studied different countries' experience?
Okay, as you mentioned, China, right, is investing in technologies and doing well. Yes, because the structure is similar. It's centralized. So when the government decides to do something, it happens. Same thing can happen in Uzbekistan. It all comes down to choosing certain paths of investment. Well, that's including, the finances and the people and the knowledge, directing into a certain direction, and it happens. On the other hand, Europe and the US has invested a lot into, technologies, research, and everything, but they're aging now. And all those technologies are aging too. And younger people, some are enthusiastic, some are not, especially in manufacturing. Now, these are service economies. 85% of the US economy is services. China's is not. It's 70% manufacturing. So there are major differences in the structure of the economy. But Uzbekistan is growing in that sense, but it just needs direction. I mean, if you're talking about more innovative, inventive movements, then the government should decide for those and lead people into it. And it will happen easier than either Europe or the US.
Yeah, thank you.
Second question.
Okay. Yeah.
Should we be afraid of AI? That because a lot of scientists, so yesterday somebody from US also came here and said about AI. But I read every day sometimes AI. Should we, how can I say, actively introduce AI in every sphere of life, because AI will substitute a lot of jobs. So we will have everybody, science also say that we will have a lot of unemployment life in the future.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. Are you afraid of your laptop? Okay, then you don't need to be afraid of AI, because AI is the computer technology. Okay, in the 1800s, Charles Babbage created the first mechanical computing device. Right, it was huge and it was calculating 2 and 2. Okay, but the electronic computers came on in the 50s, and until today, they have grown AI. It's all that line of machinery is to mimic human intelligence and decision-making processes. So it's happening, but there is nothing to afraid of yet, because AI is not that smart. Right now, it's no smarter than a cat. If you think that a cat is going to come over and make decisions for your organization, it's not going to happen. But it will happen. So within this century, we are expecting self-aware AI. Then you should be afraid of whatever the computer technology is by then. But right now, you don't need to worry about it. We don't have that technological background and software capabilities yet.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, please.
I think you have already noticed that our students are coming to the university without any background, work experience, I mean. So how you are coping with, while you are teaching those students who do not have any experience, and while you are teaching business entrepreneurship, what kind of strategies you are using? Thank you.
Well, I encourage them to build some background into something, because maybe they are not aware, but they already have backgrounds. For example, one of the students had hobbies, and his hobby is electronics. But if you don't understand that hobby can turn into a business, it won't. So we need that kind of hobbies, sports, arts, or any kind of technology background to turn into either profit entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship, corporate entrepreneurship. We should be able to do that, but they have to be aware of what they have first. Or if they don't have nothing, then they should build one. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, we have one last question, okay, from the students.
So I myself, as a startup founder, I have AI startups. So you touched on the topic that VCs are asking a lot of equity about funding early stage startups, venture capitals. Because that's the case in Uzbekistan, because majority of startups are their early stage or seed stage. So I've been through these hardships because I pitched to venture capitals, angel investors, private investors, and they ask really a lot for equity part. And I've managed that part, but what would you say to newbies, new co-founders and founders, because they need that capital. If they don't give, let's say, 20 or 30% of the company, their startup is going to die. If they get it, that means they've given up 30% of the company, which is another trouble. If they don't get it, the startup is going to die. What would you say to those early stage founders so that they can keep their startups alive and go to the next level?
Okay, well, in this country, I would say stay away from venture capital because they will get everything from you. Okay, you don't want that. But if you're at that stage, that means you're already selling your product, because when you go to a venture capitalist, they wanted to see some sales and profit success. If you don't have that, they're not going to fund you. That's one thing. And two, if you don't like the financial environment in your country, you can try something else in other countries, because you are already at sales stage and profit stage. You just need the money to grow. It means if you're seeking for venture capital, you want to grow, right? Well, you can grow into other markets. Look, a friend of mine did that in the US very successfully. He started a company for contract management, electronic contract management software. They came to a certain level, and they were working on this sales.com platform. He took his entire business to Europe because there, the Silicon Valley level sales skills or products are not available. So he offered the product. It's brand new, cutting edge technology to European companies, and they achieved a certain financial success. They came back and went public, IPO in the US. So that's another strategy that you can look into. Look at the neighboring countries, whatever you're doing, they may offer opportunities.
Yeah, that's the case for startups who have sales, but for early stage startups who need like a few 10,000 keys, like 10 or 20,000 to just finish their development part. That's the hard piece. Okay, second question. You mentioned .com boom, right? And for Uzbekistan, now a lot of booms are happening. IT industry has recently developed. The startup ecosystem is now thriving step by step. Besides this global AI boom, while the world is witnessing this AI boom, Uzbekistan is witnessing a lot of booms. So how should we correctly guide the community so that we don't fall into the traps that those US people fell back in 2000s in .com boom? So what should be the best teaching people should have?
Well, if you're talking about AI, nothing is going to happen to it because it's the usual good old computer technology, right? But if you're talking about, general intelligence, like ChatGPT, then it's a different story. It may come to a certain level and, set a parallel growth, or it may go up for a little while, but it has limitations, as you would know. So to stay away and to be safe, first of all, don't invest in those technologies heavily, just in case, all right? But if you're developing something to contribute, then continue doing it. Because if you can make it, an international success somehow, right? You have a place in NASDAQ, and you can get a lot of money. It's other people's money, and who knows, right? That's one thing. And the other one is, if you are working in general computer technology, just keep doing it, but just be aware of, the good development paths, such as, the computer technology itself. As I mentioned, if you can bring the AI, part of the AI development here, I think it will be a good success and a strong industry for Uzbekistan, because you have young, enthusiastic people with, very good math and science background here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for your questions, and thank you, Alex. And let me also mention a little bit about Study UK Alumni Award. I won this award 2 years ago, and that was really great, the previous one. So because I studied in UK at Cardiff University, and it was actually for me really great encouragement to continue learning. What I really admire about this award is that they give you opportunities, they give you the monetary funds which are part of the process for the winner, is you can only use for the personal development. So they give you opportunity to study, to go back to buy a course in, let's say, in UK, or go to the conference in UK. And I spent my funds for creativity and for creative industries course. It was online course actually, and it like running my own business for almost 10 years and being very much thinker of that. I know everything, I need just to practice, I just need to be have more team, more funds, and so on. So this award made me think again that I also need some knowledge. We always need knowledge, but we often forget about it. So that was very great shift in my life in general and in my business. And after I took that course, it was summer, it was great time to rethink and get new insights. After that, I took 2 more courses. One of them is at the Team University Executive Education. It was also a turning point for me. And now I'm implementing the ideas which I learned, and most important, the mindset. The importance of education is that it actually widens your horizons and change your mindset. And then you start using that ideas in your business, and then you see the difference. And even if you are not in a business, if you are in academia, if you are in science or technology and so on, but getting new ideas and starting implementing it in your career and life, it actually changes your life. So that's why for me the biggest value of Study UK Alumni Award is that returning to self-development, to personal development, and to growth. And besides that, it's recognition, as we have seen, like our global winner, Iskandar Satibayev. He is from Andijan, he's teacher of English, he's devoted all his life to teaching English, and then suddenly he gets recognition from UK that he is the best teacher, that he developed great resources for teaching, and then he visited UK. He was one of the 4 people worldwide who won that global scholarship. And it's a big pride for Uzbekistan that we had a winner among the from Uzbekistan, and so for him it was the bigger value was about recognition, and there are other values like networking and getting back to the smarter people who can support you. So there are a lot of benefits, and I encourage, if you are eligible, if you are graduate of UK University, please apply, and the deadline is on Monday, and it's very easy. It's just like very quickly you can fill in the questionnaire, and then it can open you new horizons in your life. So thank you once again to British Council, to Team University, and to Alex for this interesting evening, intellectual, where we were feeding our minds, not only our stomach, and enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you for coming. Bye.
Good evening, everybody.